Our topic is how the loss of biodiversity negatively affects human beings. Biodiversity is an environment with many different species of plants and animals. Over the last couple of years, the loss of biodiversity has increased greatly, and the main cause is us humans. A known energy company states that we have altered species habitats, changing how these species live, and overall killing some of them off. Also, we are polluting the earth a lot more over the years, which alters the flow of energy. Another cause of the loss of biodiversity that ENGL has explained is climate change. This is something humans can't really control directly, but taking more care of the earth can always help save these species. According to WWF, in the last 100 years, around 1,000 of the 6,500 known species have become extinct worldwide. The loss of biodiversity negatively affects human beings by it produces more food shortages, water shortages, and makes humans more vulnerable to diseases. As I said earlier, humans are the main cause of the loss of biodiversity. By them polluting the earth and ruining habitats, there is becoming food shortages in the world, especially in Africa. WWF states that about 100 million metric tons of aquatic life, including fish, mollusks, and crustaceans, are taken from the wild every year. Many people rely on fish for food, and with all the fish dying off, it is becoming harder and harder to eat. Also, farmers are having a much harder time getting good crops to support their families and to feed them. The loss of the diversity in crops is affecting farmers greatly. Germany's Federal Agency for Nature Conservation estimates that there has been a 90% decrease in the number of crop species since the beginning of the 20th century. With a less variety of crops, not only will less and less families eat, but the prices on the remaining crops will skyrocket. This will make it so much harder for the poorer families of the world to eat, forcing them to starve or just buy more processed cheap foods, which will negatively impact their health. According to Treehugger, biodiversity is important to the economy as well, because many polluting insects allow for the natural production of many foods, and their services are worth $189 billion. Without them, there will be big problems. Overall, the loss of biodiversity will create a lot of different problems when it comes to food. If us humans don't start making a change, more and more families will starve.
Now, everyone agrees that food is important, but another issue regarding the loss of biodiversity is the effect it can have on our water quality. A study published in the Nature Weekly Journal of Science proved that biodiversity improves water quality in streams and helps them withstand pollution. The experiment was conducted by placing multiple different species of freshwater algae in an artificial stream, which contained the pollutant nitrate. The rate at which the nitrogen was removed from the water was measured and then repeated, but with fewer species of algae in the water. The results of the study concluded that with 8 species of algae in the water, the nitrate was removed 4.5 times faster than with a single species in the water. In areas where water treatment plants aren't present, the water quality is directly affected by the amount of biodiversity. And in many developing countries, fresh water from a natural water source is the community's only way to obtain drinkable water. In addition, biodiversity loss due to the introduction of invasive plant species within water-oriented ecosystems causes reduced water supply because the exotic plants remove and use excess amounts of water that would have otherwise been available. Everyone deserves clean water, so the preservation of biodiversity is crucial.
In addition to the reduction of access to food and water, humanity is also threatened by biodiversity loss because it has direct negative impacts on our health and well-being. For example, the World Health Organization states that 60% of the world's population relies on naturally derived medicines, such as plants, to treat and control health issues. The need for these medicines is high, especially in areas of the world where synthetic medicines are not available, and in most cases, their availability depends on the biodiversity of the surrounding ecosystem where they are found. So, if biodiversity loss is a problem in the area due to human interaction or natural disasters, there will be a higher demand for the medicine than there is a supply, and this will lead to an increase in people in need of medicine and an increase in the presence and spread of sickness. On the same note, a loss in biodiversity due to disturbances in the ecosystem causes an increase in the emergence and spread of infectious diseases. A scientific study published in the journal Bioscience in 2009 reports that there is a direct correlation between the loss of native diversity and an increase in exotic species that spread infectious diseases between each other and the remaining native animals. This study claims that there are normally infectious diseases being spread within native communities, but when these communities' diversity is lessened, the introduced infectious diseases are more ravenous because the individuals are no longer immune and the spreading of disease is much more rapid. This system directly affects humans because more infectious diseases are emerging with a continued loss in the Earth's biodiversity, and more of these diseases are being able to spread to humans. An article by Harvard Medical School proposes that the main cause of the recent rapid spread of the Zika virus to humans via mosquitoes in Central and South America was due to the rapid declining of biodiversity in those areas due to habitat destruction by humans. Finally, much of our modern-day research is dependent on biodiverse ecosystems. For example, scientists studying varying species of bears and sharks to learn more about medical phenomena such as diabetes, cardiovascular disorders, immunology, etc. These are topics that may be hard to study in humans, so being able to observe a range of animals for research is very beneficial to our medical understandings, and much of what we know now originating from the study of diverse species of animals. While a loss in biodiversity may have negative impacts on many aspects of humanity, there are some benefits, which are few and far between. Food security is a huge issue in today's society, and to overcome this, farmers and geneticists have teamed up to genetically modify crops to allow for reduced growing times, increased yield, and among other things. But in the meanwhile, the biodiversity of crops has decreased over time because genetically modifying the majority of crops being grown causes a significant decrease in the genetic diversity as the system aims to standardize the types of crops being grown. But this can be a benefit to humans as this system helps increase the yield of crops and allow them to be grown in harsher conditions in less time. Similarly, a scientific study published by the Ecological Society of America claimed that increased biodiversity can be linked to a high diversity in zoonotic diseases, which lead to infectious diseases being spread to humans. This is directly opposite of what most scientists claim about the link between biodiversity loss and human health. However, in this study, they thoroughly tested their claim and concluded that while some biodiverse ecosystems do show evidence of having an increased presence of zoonotic diseases, overall, these ecosystems suffering major biodiversity loss are much more susceptible to the spread of infectious disease within their community and to humans. So, in many ways, biodiversity is a huge issue in today's society because it has overall far-reaching negative impacts on humans.
So why does this matter to you? Well, as more and more species are becoming extinct, more and more problems are arising. It's easy for us to turn a blind eye and pretend like nothing bad is happening, but the loss of biodiversity impacts everyone. As made clear by the past several minutes, it has an effect on our food security, water supply, medicine, and vulnerability to disease. While issues with these may not be noticed immediately, if we continue down the same careless path, then the future may be very different. It is crucial that we make more people aware of this problem before it's too late. We thank you for listening.